Hugh Jackman, I salute you, good sir. Logan stars Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and is directed by James Mangold. What's up, guys? First and foremost, before I get into this review, I'm going to do some spoiler talk after the rating. So up until the rating, you're fine. But after the rating, then you are dismissed if you haven't seen Logan. Anyway, here we go. So I think it's officially safe to say the summer movie season has started. Before, it used to start in May, but now, for the past few years, it seems to start in March. That's when all the big movies start coming out. I mean, Batman v Superman came out in March of last year. And Logan is worthy of that title of a summer blockbuster, because that's what it is. I don't want to say a big movie, because the way the story is told, it's not really that big. But Wolverine is just such a big character. So if you throw him in a movie, automatically it's just going to be huge. And I like these X-Men movies that kind of focus on one or two characters instead of, focusing on 10. And what better character to focus on than Logan? But in Logan, this takes place in the near future, and Logan is hiding at the Mexican border. He just wants to be left alone, and he's taking care of Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart. But eventually in the movie, he stumbles upon this young girl who is much like him. I mean, it's obvious she is a mutant. And so throughout the rest of the movie, he is protecting her. Now, if you're wondering why I'm being pretty vague in the plot, it's because I don't want to give anything away. I want you guys to go in and enjoy this. There's a lot I can talk about as far as what I liked about it, but I got to be careful because, like I said, I want you guys to go in and experience everything without knowing everything up front. And really, the big thing I love about Logan, and that makes it different than the rest of the Wolverine movies and the rest of the X-Men movies, is it's more character-based. And I love good, big blockbuster movies that do focus on characters, and this one really does. Every character in this movie is so fleshed out, so rich, and especially Logan. Hugh Jackman, this is his last performance as Logan, and he kills it. He is amazing in this movie. Not just from an acting standpoint, but from a visual standpoint. They're going for Old Man Logan in this, and he embodies that character head to toe. He looks the part even. He's not as cut as he usually is. He looks more aged, he looks more war-torn and beaten. And you can tell this is the most pissed off Logan there has ever been. He's just fed up with life. He's been living forever, and really he just has nothing left to live for. The only thing he cares about is Professor X. And Professor X is another thing I want to talk about. Patrick Stewart looks so much different in this one than any of the previous movies that he's done. And you could say that, yeah, he is older, but I think some of his acting does come into play on this. One thing you need to know about Professor X in this movie is that he is very sick, and Logan has to take care of him. And one thing that's scary about that is Professor X is very dangerous. He has the most dangerous brain in the universe, and when he can't control that because of his sickness, then people will die. And so Professor X alone is another added threat to this movie. Also, the character Laura, or X-23, the little girl. Now, I remember when I saw the trailer for this, right away I thought, oh, they're going to have like a little child sidekick who has his powers, but she's not going to be able to stand up to Logan or to Wolverine. Wrong. Wow. She kicks major, and I mean major ass in Logan. From the first moment she steps into frame in this movie, you're going to see how dangerous she is, how much of a threat she is, and you're actually going to be scared for the villains. You're not going to be scared for her. She is insane. And like Logan, she has this really rough, tough exterior, and that has to do with her past, her upbringing, which I will not go into. Now, Boyd Holbrook, who plays Pierce, the villain, you might remember him from the Netflix show Narcos, but I actually enjoyed him as a villain. And I think the best villains, they're not necessarily like super strong or anything, but they're charismatic, and he is a charismatic villain. Meaning when he says something, you are completely interested in what he is saying. He's just got kind of this swagger about him. And really in the end, he's a company man. He supports the organization, and he'll do whatever he has to do to get the job done. The last thing I want to talk about before I give my rating is the violence. This is rated R, and a big reason for that was because of the success of Deadpool. But when I say this is rated R, I mean it is a hard R. It is the most violent, I mean like times 10 of any of the previous Wolverine movies. And one thing that it made me realize is that the directors always had to hold back with Wolverine. And Wolverine is a very dangerous character. Because he has knives for hands. So in this movie, he's not just stabbing people in the chest. There are knives going pretty much everywhere on the human body in this movie. And it's graphic as hell. There were quite a few scenes where the theater gasped because of how insanely violent some of the scenes are. And it fits Logan's character in this. You believe that he would do this to these people. Guys, in the end, I gotta give Logan a Trapped on an Island. This movie is so good. This is the Wolverine movie that I've always wanted, that you've always wanted, that everybody's always wanted. Finally, we have, I think, a perfect Wolverine movie. I do enjoy the previous two, even Origins, but this one just nails it. Okay, guys, now we're gonna talk some spoiler talk, because I skirted around a lot of the things in the opening part of my review because, like I said, I didn't want to give away anything. But one thing that I found so interesting was how Laura didn't really have a mother or a father. She and all these other mutant children had donor fathers, and Laura, her father was Wolverine, and that's why she has his powers. And the big thing that was interesting throughout this was how much Logan would push her away. You know, he was at the end of his life. He didn't care about a family. And so he was kind of forced into this. And at the end of the movie, when he dies, that's when he finally comes to his senses, I guess you could say, feels the emotion. And Professor X tells him earlier in the movie, you need to remove this rough exterior that you have and just let go. Be human for once. And that was a big theme throughout this movie. Even though it was so violent, it had such a big heart to it. And also, X-24 was a huge surprise. Of course, X-24 is a Wolverine clone. I did not expect that scene at all. And Wolverine, Professor X, and Laura, they are taken in by this family, really nice family, and the whole family just gets pretty much slaughtered by X-24. And really, X-24 is like Wolverine at his strongest, at his most vicious, no emotion whatsoever, just a Wolverine Terminator pretty much. But the end was just beautiful. Wolverine dies, saving Laura, and then I love how you see this cross on the grave, and then Laura makes it into an X, and I just love that. It was a fitting close to the Wolverine story. Will they ever bring Wolverine back? I'm sure they will, somehow. But Hugh Jackman, he really just gave it his all in this film, and he did such a great job. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on Logan? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, come on over to Killer Flicks and become a member where we talk horror all day, every day. And on Fridays, we talk about everything. If you look down below, you can see all my social media links. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.